Hey there, creatives, and welcome back to Digital Learning Lab. And have you ever thought about becoming a teacher author? Or maybe you are a teacher author now, but tonight I'm going to share with you 5 things that no one will ever tell you before becoming a teacher author. Stay tuned. Hello creatives, and welcome back to MSC Digital Learning Lab. I'm Farah, and I strive each week to bring you actionable tips and strategies for your online creative business. Now, tonight is no exception. I'm going to share with you 5 things that nobody told me before starting this journey to becoming a teacher author. But before we get started, be sure you hit that thumbs up and like this video. And if this is your first time joining us, be sure and leave in the comments down below where you're tuning in from. Also, let me know, are you a teacher author? Are you already in that journey, or are you thinking about starting that journey to becoming a teacher author? And as we go throughout this video, I want you to be thinking about, if you are a teacher author, what is one thing you wish somebody would have told you before starting this journey as a teacher author? All right, let's go ahead and dive into our topic. So when I began this journey to become a teacher author back in 2011, the online market space for teacher authors was big, but it was rather small because it was something that not a lot of teachers were doing. It was just starting to get its roots dug into becoming an actionable, an actual, business for teachers as a side hustle. And I was already purchasing things for marketplaces online for teachers for my own classroom, and I remember downloading some things, and I remember thinking, man, I could make this. And I was making things already for my classroom, as all teachers are, but I remember seeing things that I was purchasing and I was spending my hard-earned dollars on and thinking, man, I could have made this. And then I started doing a little bit of digging, and I will tell you that when I started in 2011, yes, there were some Facebook groups, and I did manage to make some friendships within the teacher author community, but I really was kind of on my own to figure things out. Nobody was really sharing tips and things for becoming a teacher author. That was not something people were doing. And it was very, very hard to connect with other teachers and to really navigate this online space. But there were five things that I wish somebody had actually sat me down and told me prior to me starting this journey. Not that it would have changed my mind, but at least I would have gone into it with a different mindset, and it might not have taken me as long as it did in order to get to where I am today. And I'm going to share those with you. So the first thing, now I do have some notes. So the first thing that I wish somebody had told me was, it takes money. Yes, it does. If you think, well, let me back up a little bit. So I remember being in some Facebook groups and being told, oh, you've got everything you need. You're already making things for your classroom. And so you've already got everything you need. And while that is true to an extent, there is going to come a point where you're going to have to spend some money in order to make this a legitimate business. Now, is that to say that you can't take the things that you're creating and put them online and sell them to teachers? I'm sure there are plenty of teachers out there who want the things that you're creating. But if you really want to make a go at making this a successful business, whether it's going to be a side hustle or you're wanting to take it into a full-time business, you're going to have to spend some money on some things. One of the first things off the bat that a lot of teachers get hit with, a lot of teacher authors get hit with, is just simply something like Adobe and having to subscribe to a subscription to get Adobe. Now, I will tell you that as I went through my my career over the last, it's 2019, so almost 9 years as a teacher author, I have learned that Adobe's not necessary if you're doing things if you're creating in a certain way. But having said that, there are things along the way that a lot of times teacher authors go, oh, I'm just going to throw up a store. I'm already making this stuff, and I'm going to throw this stuff up into a store on a marketplace like Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'm going to make some side hustle cash. And while that's true, again, if you're going to want to make this a legitimate business, it is going to take some money. Now, where are you going to spend that money? You're going to spend that money in clip art. You're going to spend that money in software, in devices, or whatever you're going to be creating with. You're also going to be spending money if you want to get to the point where, especially now when there are so many teachers that are creating their resources and sharing them online, you will get to a point where you're going to have to pay to get your products out there in front of people. So you're going to need that advertising money. Now, I'm not saying this to discourage you from becoming a teacher author. That is not even remotely close to what I'm trying to do. What I just want you to understand is that a lot of times, and I was one of them, I got into this thinking, I've already got everything I need. It's not going to cost me anything. And next thing I knew, I had spent a couple $100 on clip art and fonts and things like that just to make myself competitive with everything else that was out there. So just like with any business that you are going to start, it is going to need some startup cost. Now, one of the things that I tell you right out of the gate, the first thing that you should pay for, especially if you are going to be selling on a platform like Teachers Pay Teachers, is you are going to want to make sure that you do a premium membership right out the gate. It's $60. I get it. And a lot of teachers, that's a lot of money to some teachers, and not just some. It was a lot of money to me back then. But you are definitely going to want to pay for that premium membership. That way you're paying a less or a lower amount of commission to the marketplace that you're selling on. So whatever marketplace you choose, there are several out there, whatever marketplace you choose, be sure you look at the difference, because I will tell you that I did not sign up with a premium membership in the beginning. And then when I switched to a premium membership, I realized that I could have quickly made back the difference, made back that membership. I would have made it so much quicker if I had just done it from the very beginning. So you definitely want to make sure that that is the first thing you're going to want to spend money on and get that done. But that first thing is it's going to cost money. So the second thing that I really wish somebody had told me is it's going to take time. And not just a matter of your time to sit down and create things, but there are so many different aspects to becoming a teacher author that are going to take your time, but also the process to becoming successful is going to take time. You cannot go into this. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what courses you've taken. I don't care what podcasts you've listened to. I don't care. I don't care where you've gotten the information. If you think you can just take a resource, throw it online, and you're going to make money, that's not really how it's going to happen. That used to be something that could happen back in the day. And we all remember that famous Good Morning America, I think it was, interview with the beloved Deanna Jump. I love her to death. And when she was first showcased as, having made it big on Teachers Pay Teachers, and immediately the surge in teachers who came to Teachers Pay Teachers were like, oh, I'm throwing my stuff up there. And there were so many teachers. I guarantee you, if you go look at the teachers who did that, and I know of quite a few that started right around the same time I did, because I was one of those that saw the interview and was like, I could do that. I'm still going to do that. If you think you can just throw something up there and sell it and you're going to make it big, that's not the way it's going to happen. It's going to take time. Number one, you're going to need to take time to cultivate your style. You're also going to have to build an audience. I cannot stress that enough. You are not going to make a successful business if you don't have an audience. And I can tell you of one friend right now, and bless her heart, she is the exception to this rule. She actually managed to create a business and she had no Facebook, no Instagram, no blog, no social media presence, no email list, nothing, and was just taking her resources and putting them on Teachers Pay Teachers. But she is like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 5,000 that is going to be able to do that. And she did create a great business foundation. And now she's just getting to the point where the sky's the limit, because imagine how successful she's going to be now once she actually gets an audience outside of that bubble. So like I said, it's not that it can't happen. It's just not the norm. And you're not, the averages are stacked against you is what I'm saying, because there are so many great teacher authors that are on the platform that you are going to definitely want to make sure you step back and you build the foundation before you just jump in and start putting resources online. Again, you're going to want to make sure you have your style down, make sure you have your audience down, and then you could create the most fabulous product. Pour your heart and soul into it. It is a huge bundle and units, and you've got hours upon hours upon hours into this product, and you put it online and crickets. Nothing happens. You could have every piece of the puzzle in place, and nothing happens. And that's what happened to me. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. The bottom line was it was going to take time. People were going to have to find it. I was going to have to do a little bit more work to get it out there in front of people, and it's just going to take time. I mean, from 2011 to 2019, and 2018 was the year that I would say that I actually successfully had an online marketing business. And it doesn't mean that I wasn't still plugging away and learning all the things and doing everything I needed to do along the way, but I learned a lot of things that I had done wrong. And starting in 2018, I went, okay, now I'm starting to see all my hard work come to fruition. So again, if you think it's going to happen overnight or it's going to happen in just a couple of months, guys, it took me 7 years. 7 years. But the key here is that you stick with it. Don't give up. Stick with it and keep going. So the next thing that I wish somebody had told me prior, and that I think is kind of one of those things, and I think because of the way it sounds, nobody wants to say it, but you don't have to have an original idea. Now, I'm saying that, but let me back up a little bit. You don't have to have a brand spanking new original idea, but you do have to be different. Let me use this as an example. So something as simple as task cards. Task cards have been around forever. And I know that one teacher author, a very, very dear friend of mine, who kind of made them a big deal on an online marketplace for teachers. But task cards are something that have been around forever. Now, does that mean that you can go out there and create task cards like everybody else's task cards and you're going to be an instant success? No, you're going to have to find a way to make it different so that it is relatable to you. So that when people see them, people go, oh, those are Miss Shipley's Classroom's task cards. And that's the key difference here. I would be willing to bet that maybe 2% of the things that are on Teachers Pay Teachers, for example, are original ideas. I have an original idea in my store, and it's a math game that I invented. But here's the thing about that. Did I invent the math game? Absolutely, I did. But I actually got the idea for the math game when walking through a toy store, and I saw a board game, and I went, wow, I've never heard of that game. I've never seen it before, but it was off in like some, random place in a toy store. And I thought I could actually turn that into a printable game and I could change things up to it, because my game looks nothing like it, but the concept is the same. So you can take an idea that you see somewhere, you can change it so that it becomes different and it's original to you. But I know people who are sitting at home racking their brain trying to think of something original to do. And the fact of the matter is that in the teaching world, we've pretty much done all of it. It's just a matter of changing the way things are done and taking inspiration from your classroom, taking inspiration from things that you see out in the world around you, just like I did walking through a toy store and I saw a board game and thought I could totally turn that into a printable game. Here's what I'd have to change, but it's kind of the same concept. So again, you don't have to sit home and come up with some new invention. You just have to make sure that whatever you put out there is different from somebody else. Obviously, I'm not advocating copying anybody. You just want to make sure it's different. Think about this. Coke versus Pepsi. Coca-Cola has been around forever. Do you think when Pepsi came along, they invented the idea of a soft drink? No, they didn't invent the idea of a soft drink, but they sat back and they said, okay, what do people like about Coke? What do people not like about Coke? We could create a soft drink that is different, Now, I'm not saying they got it right. That's just my opinion. But it doesn't matter. Look at the marketplace and look at things that are items that are similar to other items. Think something as simple as, tablets that we, like an iPad versus a Samsung tablet. They're all tablets, and people and companies come in and it's the same idea. They're just making it different so that it's specific to their brand. So I want you to think about that whenever you're getting ready to start this journey. The next thing, let's see, we're on tip number 4, and this is one that is very dear to my heart. You can make this a full-time business. Now, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I don't care what anybody tells you out there. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not, just like with any business, it is going to take time. It is going to take determination. It is going to take hard work. It is going to take long hours. It is going to take you putting yourself into this 110% in order to make it a business, like any business you would have. Is there going to come a point where you can kind of step back and you can say, okay, now I've reached a point where I'm not having to work as hard and it's kind of running itself? Absolutely. But again, I'm 8 years into it and I'm still in the trenches every single day. I have to be active in my business. I have to be active in making sure that all the things get done. And I'm a firm believer that if you look at big brands that are out there and you look at where they're at, they're all the places. I know it's really popular within the teacher author community to say, pick one thing and stick with that. Make Instagram your thing. Make Facebook your thing. Whatever the case may be. But if you look at successful brands, whether they're inside the teacher community or outside, if they're just in the outside online marketing world, look at where they're at. They are all the places. Now, does that mean that you need to completely, put yourself one foot in the grave trying to get all the things done? No. Just know that you need to set goals that at some point you're going to need to be on all those platforms. That was one of the things that I think hurt me in the beginning, was I was trying to be one place. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you need to focus right now. But once you get that to a solid foundation, and what is a solid foundation? It might not be 10,000 on Instagram. I'm just saying, I am able to run a successful online business from home and make way more than my teaching salary when I was in the classroom, and I don't have anywhere near 10,000 followers on Instagram. Just saying. So it is totally possible. It can be a full-time business, but you're going to have to do the work, and you're going to have to find the right people that aren't just wanting to sell you something so that they can make a buck. You're going to have to find the right people that are going to be honest with you about what you need to do to get to that point. And you also are going to have to find somebody who's going to be honest with you if you've got a product that might not be the best product for your brand. And that's really key there. And again, like I said, it's totally possible to make this a full-time business and be able, if you want to leave the classroom, if you want to be able to do this full-time, it's totally possible. But don't do it, and don't go quit your teaching job tomorrow and start doing this thinking that it's going to become an overnight success. It's going to take work, it's going to take dedication, and it's going to take time. And it's going to take having the right people around you in order to make that happen. So the last thing that I want to share with you, and I really wish somebody had told me this, and I think one of the reasons that nobody really shares this verbally is because I guess they're afraid that it's going to somehow hurt them in the social media world when it comes to things. The big marketplace for teachers to sell their resources is obviously Teachers Pay Teachers. And they have a major footprint within that space. However, I wish somebody had told me 7 years ago, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And here's why. You don't own your customer list on Teachers Pay Teachers. Now, I love Teachers Pay Teachers. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. I love everything they do for us. You're paying a fee for them to be able to process payments, and now they're working on sales tax issues that go on within, having a business as an online marketer, and they're having to deal with all of that. So if somebody came to me and said, where should I start? I would definitely say start with Teachers Pay Teachers. However, I wish somebody had told me, don't put all your eggs in one basket way back when. Because over time, what I began to realize is that you need to be able to have, if something were to happen tomorrow, and I'm not saying it is. I'm not trying to scare anybody. But if something happened tomorrow with Teachers Pay Teachers, for whatever reason, you never know. Things happen all the time. If something were to happen, where would people get your stuff? Especially once you start seeing that you are building a brand and you are building a business, where would people go to still find you? And what happens to Instagram if Instagram goes down? I mean, good night. It wasn't too long ago, and I saw a tweet today from my son that said Instagram was down again. Now, I don't know if it was a joke or not because I hadn't been on, but what would happen if Instagram went down? If that's where you got all your eggs, what happens if Instagram goes down? You have no way to get hold of your audience. What happens if Facebook goes down? What happens if you get your Facebook page shut down for whatever reason? Again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I wish somebody had told me that way back when. I know we hear it a lot, and yeah, some people hear it, but I cannot stress how important that is. Now, I have a store on my own website now, and do I get as much traffic to it as I do, for example, from Teachers Pay Teachers? Absolutely not, but that's because it's brand new and I'm just now starting to build it. Had I started building it 7 years ago, who knows? Who knows where I would have been? There are other marketplaces out there. Am I on some other marketplaces? I'm starting to get onto other marketplaces as well, because I don't ever want to have my entire livelihood in one basket. Now, where is the main place that I sell? Teachers Pay Teachers, and I absolutely love them. So I don't want anybody to take this. It's just good business. Just good business to not put all your eggs in one basket. All right, guys, so I hope that you enjoyed these five tips for if you're trying to get started as a teacher author. And like I said, I wish somebody had told me these 5 things before I started. I think a lot of teacher authors, especially if you're here and you are already in this teacher author journey, you've learned these already. But if you are just starting out and you're not quite sure where to start, these are definitely 5 things that I wish somebody would have told me. Now, if you have any questions, be sure and leave them down below. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you like this video, hit that notification so that you will be able to get notified when I go live. If you are just starting out as a teacher author, or you're just thinking about getting into that career path, go ahead and jump over to mrsshipley.com/IPCA, and you can get some information on iPro Creator Academy. I have been doing this for the last 4 years from my iPad, and I want to show you how to do it as well. Again, guys, like and subscribe this video, and I will catch you next week here at Miss Shipley's Classroom. Keep being educational rock stars, guys. Bye.